So quickly, has anybody found out whether or not Harvey's is accepting the coupons this year?
I have not seen it, so I have no idea. But
no one knows?
We did kill Free Burger Day, so I'm sure they'll just kill the
coupons this week. Probably just for this week.
No. They'll still have the coupons, but select locations. I swear there is that.
This is not
there. You know what I mean? So select location means nada.
Not this one. Yeah, certainly not this one. It's not good for business. And
the funny thing is, I've noticed their coupons, the last few ones, they've said, dude, the prices inched up in pennies. And
they did.
Is this just like them messing with my mind, knowing that I'm just going to use them, thinking it's the old price, when it's just a bit higher.
Yes, well, this is where, welcome to Anime North.
The opinions expressed in the following are those of its participants and do not necessarily reflect those of the producers and the Six Talk Podcast Network. Also, the following contains mature material and mild language, which may not be suitable for all audiences. Discretion is advised.
That's just normal Harvey's there.
Yeah, that it is.
But I'm sure they'll have the extra convention special for high traffic locations. So then it's just like, we'll have to add an extra $1 or $2 for you, sir.
I won't go that far. Well, here we go. This has become always our tradition. Mm-hmm. When it was back in the version 1 days during the Comic Den era, and when we came back last year. So. To everyone listening, good evening from Anime North in the west end of Toronto.
In the Halton room.
Which is
nowhere near Halton.
Well, nowhere near Halton itself. Mike Nicholas, James Austin with you for, I guess, what would we call this now? I guess this is a digest tonight.
It is definitely. It's a digest type of night. It's just you and me.
It's just me and you.
You never know. There might be a random person just comes up on the mic, and we'll see what happens. Anything could happen.
Hopefully we'll have a few guests as the weekend goes here. Norm's come in. Well, let's just see what Norm lets us know.
Yeah, he's open to it. Bringing Fred to the office. They'll have to be after his panel.
Well, and that's the way it's going to go. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about what Norm just told us in a second. Okay. Go ahead, Norm.
Bring him in. After, he's okay. As long as we don't have a crisis to deal with.
Okay.
You can use that display room. He's got a couple of pictures from Fred's visit. First time at Anime North to show him.
Thanks. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's our first surprise for our listeners.
So as long as there's not a crisis to be handled, but in that display room with all of Eileen's birthday and Christmas presents.
Thanks, Norm.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you a bit later.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Okay, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is our first surprise. Fred Schodt will be doing a sit-down chat with me tomorrow afternoon. We will tape it and we will make it available to online not too long after. We're just going to try and figure out the logistics of it. We'll get back to that a little later on. Right now, as we're taping this, it is now 11, almost quarter to midnight here in Toronto. Our traditional time, it's our late night time. We've always, whenever we've done Anime North, and this is partly to the show, to the podcast's detriment, we've always done the show late night because then we know we're not in a rush to tape it, because it takes us about 10-15 minutes to put up the mics and take them down each time. Right, James?
Mm-hmm.
I think we did pretty good this time around, and I think less than 15 minutes. So we did a pretty good job of the table.
Pretty clear table, so it's easy to get everything rolling.
And and because of the late night, and as I said, we tape it so that we know we don't have too much to worry about in terms of time constraints. But we're never able to get a guest. I think the closest we've gotten is Norm himself, is Norm McAvoy, who just came in the room and told us. And
then we have one person.
And for reference, we only have one person sitting inside the room. One person sitting inside the room. I guess we'll let him sit in for a couple seconds, and then we'll turn off the mic on him.
Hi.
Well, First of all, this is one of the volunteers here who's just crashing after finishing his duties for the night. I said duties. First of all, if you're going to talk, you see the microphone. You kind of have to get close to. James is going to point this to you. What's your name, sir? What's your name?
Suki Hong.
Sorry,
Suki Hong.
Suki.
Yep.
Nice. And I like the costume already.
Thank you. I'm cosplaying as Senko from Seoyake Kitsune no Senko-san, or in English, it's Helpful Fox Senko, and basically it's an anime about this lolly fox girl who goes to this guy's house to take care of him because he's a depressed Japanese businessman.
Oh boy!
Yep. And that
you know this one
this season.
James is more well versed on more recent. Anime than I am.
It is on Crunchyroll. Like it was on Funimation, and then they added it to Crunchyroll. So luckily there is a place to go and see it, but it's only halfway through the season. So I think it's about 7 episodes.
Episodes through.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So how long have you been a fan?
From when it started, actually, I remember seeing the announcement.
Oh, I mean, just a fan is generally speaking.
Oh, anime, you mean?
Yes. Because you hinted to me you're in high school still, so.
That's a good question. My mom kind of more or less introduced it to me when I was in elementary, I think.
So that's not a few years ago.
I think it was Doraemon or something.
Oh wow, you're going old school.
Way back. Right. And
I'm just turning up the mic on.
I just really liked kind of the stories and stuff. So she also, I think at the time she was also she was doing her own illustrations. So I also did some illustrations. Permission to plug my Twitter.
Go ahead.
All right. So my Twitter is at Early Grey Draws on Twitter. I periodically post some illustrations, mostly pencil sketches, sometimes some digital art. And yeah, if you want to check it out, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Well, how are you finding it? How many years have you done Anime North?
This is actually my 3rd year, but my 2nd year working volunteering with Anime North itself. The first year was with a vendor who's sadly no longer coming to Anime North.
I won't ask the story, at least on air, okay?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what happened either.
Okay. James and I have done this all for a long, long time.
A very long time. I think we were talking about us for the overnight crew. We're at least 16 years now.
And I was I helped out at the very first Anime North.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you remember the times that everyone forgets, like the Constellation and then the
Regal Constellation, and then before this, and then before the Regal Constellation, and we did the Michener Institute. The convention did the Michener Institute in downtown Toronto. Which is just near Chinatown. So this convention has grown. I will tell you that much. I'm sure you know that. Well, you have a sense of it, but we've seen it.
It's 4th biggest in North America, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, but we've seen it like growing as it's grown, and it's definitely it exploded. I think last decade, and it just like we kept on taking more and more. Where we've pretty much taken all the buildings now in this area, and you can't even get food anymore. Like the menus are all set, and you're still waiting forever.
Now, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting the names. It'll take me a little while to remember names. So,
Suki.
Suki, thank you. Well, we'll give everyone a sense of where we are. Everyone knows this. We're in the main hotel once again at the for Anime North, which is now. What's the name this year? What's the name of the hotel this year?
Still Delta.
Oh, it's still Delta. Okay.
Yeah. It was DoubleTree International Plaza Delta, and Delta is by Marriott. If you want to know.
So we're back. So we're in the Delta in the Halton Room, across the street from the Toronto Congress Centre, which is the other main complex for Anime North. As Austin's hinted, this takes up a handful of hotels.
And the whole Congress Center, which they never used to take.
Yes,
the whole thing,
which is to me is a more recent development.
Yeah, I'd say the last 2 years it's really moved into there, and they've made full use of the space.
Complete use, because well, you tell I've heard the rumor that you can tell me what you know about this, because I heard rumors that they couldn't use the entire space because there were some structural issues or something with the rest of the space, with the rest of the center, or at least it wasn't prepped well enough to hold.
I have no idea. I haven't heard of that one.
But it was a long development that that Anime North in that area didn't use the entire south building.
Mm-hmm. They didn't use the front.
Yeah, they didn't use the front of the south building.
Oh, you mean like by the road, right?
Yeah,
by
They
the
still
road.
don't really do that. The front entrance isn't actually the real entrance.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah, you can still get into there and they use it, but yeah, you don't go through.
It's
that.
not the main entrance.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
main
true.
entrance, yeah.
But it is. But the thing is, for a long time, you only had, I think, about a third or 2/3. But it certainly wasn't the whole building. And then there's the north building, which we've hinted at before, is where Doug Ford held his acceptance speech. Right now, but going on right now is. Oh, Doug Ford held
Something
his-
very different.
Something very different. We are going head to head against Anime Hell, which means this room is basically empty. Nobody's watching it.
Just imagine if it was 10 years ago, Mike. Then we'd have all those people just walking by us because they used to be up in the Plaza Ballroom.
Oh, yeah.
And no, what was it? Or maybe
Well-
it was before that. It was in the international plazas. You remember they took down the partitions.
Yes,
and we're all through the international A, B, and C.
Yeah, A, B, and C,
they
which is-
anchored that into
Yeah.
this crazy north building. It's like.
And now it's in the north building, and they use it whenever they can get it. There's no guarantee they can use it every year, because in past years, the conservative conventions.
Well,
have
it's only been I think 2 times it was in recent history. One was provincial, and the last one last year was the federal. Mm-hmm. And that was some interesting people. One of them did join us overnight.
Yeah, I believe there was I think I forgot what party, but in 2017 there was actually part of the TCC was actually taken over by them, and they got really upset at Anime North because they claimed that we were taking over their space, but in reality it was a lot of them coming into Anime North all confused and what's going on.
Well, Anime North is, and we're going to use this word because we used it during the last episode. It's an institution now.
Yeah.
Anime North is very much an
area
institution.
knows that it's coming.
Well, I think Anime North especially has this energy about it. I can't say whether or not it's other cons have it because I haven't. This is the only con I've been to, but I think that Anime North has something about it that it just, the saying, strangers are just friends you haven't met. I think that is especially true for Anime North and probably most of the cons as well.
You heard me do the PSA just before we started taping, right? Yeah. I know where you're going with that.
Yeah.
I do know where you're going with that, Suki. I'd say it's an accurate statement. As I said, fandom, it's a fan-run convention, and it does have its warts, admittedly.
Well, that's true, but
there's still a overall charm about the place. But I mean, we can delve into it overall, and we will in later on as the weekend goes. But we're just settling in and enjoying what is the end of day one. Okay, so. Well, what else do we want to say about the area before we start doing our dives? Well, a little bit of the area. If you have Harvey's coupons, once again, you're probably out of luck. But Harvey's is gladly open.
You can always go to a different restaurant, stand in a different line, Mike.
Yeah,
but this time they don't pick you at random. It's like,
shut up! Shut up! God, that one, you're not going to live that one. We're not going to get over that one, the IFF incident, are we? Way to go.
Actually, hey, I was in the hallway and I heard someone mention IFF.
Really? Okay, yeah. So what did they say?
It was just over conversation, so I didn't hear much.
Okay, but IFF came up in conversations.
But I still had a good chuckle when I heard that. So,
that's. I think, as I said, we're going to probably talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. Fred Schodt isn't our only guest that's planned, and we hope we can make it because Fred's actually been texting me the last couple minutes. Oh, hold on. Kevin actually texted us, too.
What does he have to say?
Well, he says, are we still here?
Are we still here? That's a good question from Kevin.
So hopefully he'll...
Answering
one of our regulars.
Questions.
Yeah. We're multitasking here. I'm horrible at it, but nonetheless.
I mean, it's a vital skill if you want to work at an anime convention. Right?
Yes. Well, that's why I don't anymore. I just do this. Yes. So as I said, we're we hinted. We'll talk about this a little more. Aside from Fred Schodt tomorrow, Jesse Betteridge is actually set to do the show with us tomorrow night from the Xanon podcast. Mm-hmm. So some names, if you keep up with anime commentary, are some very familiar names. Jesse will obviously like if you keep up with anime in Canada, he really doesn't need too much of an introduction. But we'll leave it for tomorrow night to talk a little bit more. He did some panels earlier, and we'll talk about that. Well, what else? What else do we do? What other stuff do we refer to? Well, Subway's open 24 hours, so I know where I'm going after we're done taping.
Keep on forgetting that's open 24 hours,
Yes,
but
aside
they still
from the
get
Tim
enough
Hortons.
people going in and
Oh
out.
well, they can justify it.
Not sure about fresh like baked bread, but
You got something, well, that's much of it. Suki, well, let's start with the. I guess we should start with the dive. Well, let's. Give me a second here. I just realized my computer is not fully plugged in.
oh geez.
It's been running on battery.
Oh
nothing
man!
like-
this
nothing
time
like
we're
quasi
actually
live.
having a race. Like usually, it's like we edit for the time. This time we're editing for getting that battery.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things.
Is it charging?
No, we're
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
on-
we're
we're
good.
good in
Yeah,
that
good.
sense. Well, the way night one goes, Suki, and if we always do give first impressions. Well, you were volunteering today, so
Yeah.
where were you?
I was just in the staff lounge. So I spent a few first hours in the TCC. There was a Gunpla building thing where I get to build just a free Gunpla. And you get to build a free Gunpla and keep it. You get to borrow tools as well. And it's just a really basic kit, but it's probably some of the most fun I had for some reason. I was with a friend and we were just talking over building Gunpla. Other than that, I didn't really do much after that. I just came back to the staff lounge and started working. There wasn't really much to do aside from prepping.
Yeah. So what are you like? So what are your volunteer duties this time? around?
So as someone who works in the staff lounge, I basically just prep food, stock up on drinks, just make sure everything's running fine, everything's stocked up right, making sure that all the other staff members have adequate refreshments, basically.
Okay. You do good work there, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I did peer inside the room. The Halton room, just for reference, is right beside the staff lounge. So I did look inside and steal a couple chips. So thank
All
you. It actually keeps me going for while we start this taping. So that's been the story of your day thus far.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Saturday, I'm probably gonna go to a few panels.
What are you looking forward to?
There's a Gunpla Advanced class, I think it's called.
You're into models, aren't you?
Oh, very much.
That's good.
I just love building things.
Oh, cool. No, it's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's
we're all
no-
into different things.
Yeah.
And it's good that Anime North has all these different
I know,
things
right?
because you don't always get that at some of the conventions. Sometimes it's like more zeroed in on either
Yeah.
the games, the anime, or the manga, but you
Yeah.
get a full breadth, as you say, and
Exactly,
stuff like that, and get to connect with people and stuff
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
what's so
And-
great about Anime North.
The thing about Anime North and like when we were talking to IFF last episode, we talked about things. The one thing about the one thing about AN here, yeah, there's a lot of things to do, and if you actually want to talk about things too, have these discussions, you can really start to have intelligent discussions about anime
Yeah.
and Japanese pop culture
And
and
the
Asian
room
pop
we're
cultures.
in seems to be for that panel stream and stuff like that because they've always had a historical and an educational type panels from the beginning and stuff like that. And they've got some real experts
makes
that
you-
come in and it definitely brings it to real life.
It
You
is
know what I
one of
mean? And
those
it-
things that make you think.
yeah, and you learn something. Trust me,
You
gain something as you leave
will
the room.
gain maybe some historical perspectives.
Yeah.
Maybe some technical stuff. The panel in here just before we were here just talked about was about military stuff.
Yeah.
Yep, and it was
And it was
about
all-
the planes, and then before that, he did the fleet, so he did the
So
ships. of the Imperial.
Helen McCarthy is here this weekend, so she has
She's
another.
been back a few times,
Oh yeah,
so that's
And
incredible. So she
and,
must
we ran
enjoy
into
it.
her,
She's
and
coming
we
all the
talked
way
with
from
her.
England.
She enjoys doing the show by all accounts. And she does catch up with friends because I know her and Fred Schodt are very good friends, and they were catching up. So, but this is it's a unique convention in that sense. I find it kind of unique in that sense. You can have these type of discussions, right? And as I said, it's a very intelligent type of thing. It's not out necessarily to promote something, but it's to give a perspective to a fan and make them more curious about what they're into, and probably and it sometimes opens doors too, right? It sometimes can really open doors.
Well, what I like to think is that discussion definitely does open the doors to and helps grow community, especially intelligent, like even sometimes debates as well. It really helps grow a community and unite it when it's done right, of course.
It's done right. Of course, we know what happens when it's been done wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your day one, right? That's the story of your day one?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Well, here, we're going to get more detailed because, this was supposed to be Digest, what is this, Digest 3, right? Digest 3?
Digest whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever, Digest.
How about Digest 1 after midnight?
Well, we wanted to, like whenever we do a Digest episode, we don't intend it for it to be too long, but if it's me and James doing it,
somehow we find a way to stretch it.
Somehow we find a way to make it almost as long as a regular episode, which which these days have been over 2 hours.
Whoa.
Well, we had a lot to do.
We had a lot to talk about.
And I think we went through a lot of the convention season there, just from the Toronto perspective, and now we're in Anime North, and you can relax.
But it is also the granddaddy. Like I said, it's the icon, the institution, Anime North.
Yeah.
Day one, Mr. Austin. Your thoughts?
Yeah, not much. I traveled here. I got here safely. I got my hotel room key. I got my staff badge. And then I went out with some friends and had some good dinner.
Well, you haven't gone to anything?
I haven't. I've just been taking in the crowds and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to some things on Saturday, going to the discotheque panel and maybe checking out the panel with Victor Lucas over at the other
yes. Maybe give him my card.
I'll remember that.
Actually, I did talk with Mike
intrigued
Toole.
about your... Okay, you said that.
I did talk with Mike Toole briefly, so...
yeah, he's been doing tons.
One
he
day
does
we'll
them
get
in
him.
the
One day we'll
video area.
get him to do the show.
He does some great panels.
Oh, he does.
I might check out either his... it'll probably be at Discotheque running that one. And then
Toole,
he does the Dub Times Forgot is just a classic.
And he does a history in terms of... he does the industry in a more historical perspective, really.
Well, and they've done, he's done some great documentary and some commentary on some of the Discotheque DVDs and stuff like that. I know I was watching one of the recent Lupin ones. He's done video commentary for a lot of them. The recent one he did for the recent set was kind of the treasure of Lupin the First, and he gave some interesting context talking about the connection between Lupin III from Japan and, of course, Arsène Lupin, the original one, and stuff like that. And some things that you don't normally think about and stuff like that. And he did promo Knighthood, which I can't say enough about because that would be one I'd love for them to get, but I don't. They would get that one. You might not remember that one, Mike. It was from the mid-'90s Knighthood, and it was similar in style to Batman the Animated Series. It was by Sinar and stuff like that. They did a French version and an English version. They dubbed both of that and all that in Montreal. And I guess the animation, it was a co-pro between France and Canada. So Sinar was the Canadian side and France was Canal.
Okay.
But
I've known about those partnerships. Those have been.
But they made mention of that and stuff like that, talking about when was Lupin used and stuff like that, and that was one of the mentions.
That's Mike Toole's power when it comes to this type of stuff.
You get a lot out of it and stuff like that, and you think about it. It's you go back and watch something, and you're like, oh.
Well, that and his soccer fandom. Toole is probably one of the great anime commentators of the last 20 years. But he has a certain flair for his style presentation. He's part of that group that involves some of the great anime commentators like Daryl Surratt, like Dave Merrill, like Neil Nadelman, and all but one of those guys are here this weekend. Surratt, I know Merrill will constantly keep telling me, "Come on up to Toronto." So. But these guys have written about the industry for years, and we've kept up with it, and just good stuff. They're really good reads, and really, as I said, they're all very thought-provoking stuff. Okay, costumes, cosplay, anything catch your attention right out there, or have you become so jaded? Have you become jaded? I'm the one. I think I'm closer to that than you are.
Well, I noticed one good cosplay as I was driving down Dixon, and I wasn't at the convention yet, where it was from Cells at Work, and they had red and white blood cell, and they had a really good cosplay.
Not bad.
I think they had. I think I saw them too. I think there was a T cell as well.
Oh,
Killer T.
they're okay. Maybe they had a killer T as well because
Yeah.
there was only the red and the white that I saw at that point.
Oh.
So they might have met up with some, but they have many cosplay areas
Yeah.
around the area too. So
This
you
is-
can go and
well,
see certain things. So it's
What
good.
is
And we have gained another person.
Oh.
well, a good friend of mine, and I'm
Yep.
going to actually ask him about one panel later on.
Should we switch out or?
Well, first of all, nice talking with you, Suki.
yeah,
so
very nice. Yeah,
let me
nice
get your
talking
last
to you,
name a bit later on. And I'll put you in the credits, okay?
All right. Well,
But it's been a real pleasure meeting you.
my pleasure's mine. Thank you for having me.
Here, just write down your last name into your full name into this, and on the last line in my book here, and then
right,
I'll
sure.
make sure I give you credit, okay? As I said, nothing like live or quasi-live recordings. Actually, now that you brought it,
And
but
to think he probably got into Anime North the legitimate way. We just kind
we
of
just
fell
said,
into
we just
like
said,
becoming staff
hey,
and
Norm,
helping out.
Eileen, we're ready to tape.
Well, no, I think it was more funny enough for the overnight, I always say we're the only ones silly enough to still be doing this because we love the company of each other and we still love coming to Anime North. Because
Okay.
remember, it was the club. Yama, remember, did that overnight room. And we kept
Well,
on
we have
bringing,
it-
you know what I mean?
Remember,
and then it's like soon enough.
we've had history. I mean, me and you, we've had history, like one time or another, like with all the fan gatherings. I helped start the overnight traditions, one of the overnight rooms here with Neil and Simon, which you guys eventually took and continued for us.
Yeah, we're still
And
doing that one, and
we
then we
did-
have the game
the
shows
game shows
from
is still a
CN
thing.
Anime.
From CN Anime, and then they were translated over as well. Some of our successors at Yama took that. Words That Follow and Flash
Yep.
is theirs.
Yep.
Is their creations.
Well, you don't see that as much now, but I think they
Back
other
in the
guys
day.
brought Flash
Back in-
back to
back in
here,
the
so
day,
it was
yeah.
here the
Back in the
past
day.
few years.
So, well, I mean, as I said, we've been here. Well, I'm the guy who's gotten kind of jaded. Okay, let me go. I guess it's my turn. Day one, isn't it?
Yeah, and you said you saw a good panel. Was it the Fred Schodt?
Yes.
panel you
Okay,
said?
well, let's go to that.
I'm interested.
Let's just want to go, since we just brought up, I asked you to do cosplay, I will tell you the one that stuck out to me.
Oh,
There was this as I was coming into the TCC to go to Fred Schott's panel, I saw a young lady who was dressed up as Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. It wasn't necessarily just that fact, it was just the quality of the costume. It was crocheted all the way through.
oof. Wow, that is
So
incredible.
that is a lot of work, and it's unlikely whoever made that costume is hearing this, but tip of the hat.
But what was it? I think that was one of the things they talked about in Ghibli Fest this year, that was celebrating. It was like 10 years of Hollow or something like that, and 30 years of Kiki, and there was another one too they were celebrating.
But I was just
yeah.
impressed with that workmanship.
But yeah.
That was that because there's.
But yeah, maybe the big
And-
fan,
and-
and then they wanted to celebrate.
But if that was
that's
really,
a
if that
dedication
was hand done, if that was actually done,
by them,
that
yes. Yeah.
I am, or by somebody they know, I am impressed. Okay, so I did mention, I did see two panels today, and they are from our guests who will hopefully show up, you'll hear from later on in this weekend in the future episodes. Yes, I did see Fred Schott's first panel. I told the story a couple months ago about Fred Schott's first visit to Anime North and how
You got him into Kenshin.
Yeah, I got him into Kenshin, and we talked about the concept of history in anime and manga, and that was 21 years ago, back in 1998. This is Fred Schott's first visit to Anime North since then, and and looking back on it, I think it kind of started the whole idea of, like, the whole concept to me of historical fiction. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, obviously we've seen it taken and seen other genres, other mediums take the idea and run with it. Titanic, I guess, is the most highest grossing one. But the whole idea to me started to come with something like Kenshin. Mm-hmm. But like that's the idea. That's where the concept to me was solidified. But then
And that was one of the first big ones in the bubble too.
in terms of historical fiction in anime and manga.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess
In
so,
a way,
yeah.
you know
In
what I
a
mean?
way, I mean,
But you know what I mean
there's-
when it started
the one
to
that
pick
would
up.
and the one that certainly caught my attention. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
obviously you have that, like, especially when it's related to the war. Second World War. You have those. You have historical fiction, Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah, that was the one. I remember you did that gathering for.
Well. Maybe we should plug in 4 mics. Mr. Ng, have a seat. Yes, you. Well, why not? You're just in time because I'm going to get you a bit in a bit. We'll get you in a bit.
Are you going to ask Kevin what his day was like?
Well, we will in this after. I guess he's going to go last. Hey, Kevin, what's up?
Well, he can't do that because he's nowhere near the mic here, Mike. Jeez.
Well, I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Well,
first of all, how are you feeling, Mr. Ng?
I'm tired.
All right, Kevin Ng has now joined us. And is filling his water bottle with the pitcher that's sitting here on the table. He's handling some of the guests for the fashion stuff going on here this weekend here at Anime North. Well, and it looks like he needs a real sip of water.
Well, I think he's going to need a lot more because I think his is in the afternoon tomorrow, and so he said it gets real busy
for him.
Yeah, I think late morning, early afternoon.
Yes, the fashion show is going to be like throughout the. Like, we're going to have to do setup in the morning, and then the fashion show will happen in the afternoon. So that'll take up a good 4 or 5 hours of my day.
Okay, so, we were talking about day one. Austin's day one wasn't that long.
Oh, don't worry. It's the
it was, or at least uneventful. Did you? Well, I'll ask you in a sec. I was on. We were talking Fred Schodt, so I told the story. We've told that story. And I guess we'll hear a few more stories when we talk with Fred tomorrow afternoon.
And what was his panel about?
Well, his panel, he talked about one of the books he wrote at length. One of the books he translated, The Four Immigrants. At the time I met Fred for the first time, back in '98, this book was about to come out. He was actually, in many ways, promoting the book. But he told a little bit more of the story behind the book. And it was a real long history about the book. It is an autobiographical manga by Henry Kiyama, and I forgot his Japanese name, and I can ask Fred. We'll ask Fred tomorrow to give it to us. I just forgot off the top of my head, so I apologize to the Kiyama family. But he told us about how he first stumbled upon it in his and how stumbling upon it and his fascination with it inspired him to write for his first 2 books on manga. Most notably in the early 80s. And then, but the thing is, his real passion was to actually translate this manga he came across, which he just stumbled upon at UC Berkeley. He tried to find out as much information about it, often hit dead ends, especially at the Library of Congress in Washington. What a surprise. Yeah. But he was able to catch enough clues and was able to trace Kiyama's work because we found out he was a painter by trade. Or he had a passion for painting, and that he had eventually moved back because this told a story about when he lived in the U.S. in the 20s, I believe, circa 1927, I believe, and then he eventually went back in the early 30s and lived until 1950. But he was able to track him all the way down to his hometown, found his paintings, and then befriended Henry Kiyama's daughter, who is still alive. She's still alive today, and he's become very close with Kiyama's family, even though he never met Henry himself, obviously.
Interesting.
And he told the story about meeting them and how much this project had become his. Probably the thing. It sounds like it's the single greatest thing he's most proud of in everything he's ever done. And he was the translator to Osamu Tezuka. And one of the panels tomorrow, he will be talking about his relationship with Tezuka.
Oh man, I'm probably gonna miss that.
Yes, that'll be at 2 p.m. I'm gonna miss much of the.
There's a lot of stuff in the afternoon that. Yeah,
I'm gonna miss that too.
See, this is the unfortunate part of being staff because. Unlike, I've mentioned in earlier podcasts, when it comes to guests, the one strong point that Anime North has is getting the air quotes renowned panelists. And I don't mean that facetiously. It's these are people that are well known throughout the States and in England and whatnot. So we get those people fairly often, because of, we always assumed it was Dave pulling the strings for that, but we have Fred, and then Mike's here, and then Helen McCarthy, I believe, is here this year. So
and even though he's not here, kind of more or less on his own volition, Jesse Betteridge is here. And he's doing the show tomorrow,
and he came a long
Just
way
for reference.
too.
Yeah, he's doing the show. He's doing the show tomorrow night. So you're sitting in, right?
Oh yeah, and so it's just missing all these great panels. It kind of sucks.
Well, as I said, this is the thing about Anime North, and we just brought it up before you got in here. You can start to have those intelligent discussions about anime, and it ends up opening doors to other things, things that are somewhat connected to it. Yeah, but it opens your eyes in a more historical perspective, or sometimes mechanical perspectives. But you are here, you end up, if you want to really have one, you will have a history lesson here.
It's also that you can just expect the panel to be well run, and they've done their homework, and you know that they're going to do a good job, whereas I can go to Pokemon Cooking, and God knows what's going to happen in that panel.
Well, it's also the reason why
sometimes,
it's also the reason why, by and large, I'll never do those type of panels. Or maybe, but although I get the feeling I'm going to get I'll get some pointers too. So going back to Schod's story, he wanted to talk. He talked at length about that, and then how his relationship has evolved with the Kiyama family since then. He's become very close with the family, as mentioned, and it's also become source material for something else. He also revealed, or it is hinted in the book, in the guidebook, which. Stick with the physical copy, folks, because we got to tell you about that joke later on. He somebody who kind of was in the business of doing it made it into a musical, and it had a pretty successful run 2 years ago in San Francisco. And I think the only regret is we're probably not going to see it done again, or at least they're hoping to at least see another production. I think one of the best moments for Fred concerning that was Henry Kiyama's granddaughter and her husband came down to watch a performance of that play, and she left. I was told she left the performance in tears, in a good way, because she found it so emotional to see her grandfather's story played out like that. And but he in telling the story of translating the manga and the manga itself, he kind of told about the story about how he used the phrase, Japanese manga's grammar came from the U.S. That's one note I wrote here. Yeah, he told the story about American comics during that time in the 1910s, 1920s, and how it ultimately was adapted, and it was adapted initially into Japanese, and it was initially adapted the way we read it, Westerners read it. So it was from left to right initially, and it was a little odd, but that's sort of how it was. So. He talked about how the genesis of how Japanese started to look at comics, and then eventually adapted it to their own way, right? I mean, we can talk about the going further back about busker like characters in the Edo period telling stories over just pictures. But then you have woodblock prints, I suppose. And I know Helen McCarthy can tell this a lot better than I could, because right now I'm just saying this off the top. I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head. But then it evolved again, and Fred through the translation of Four Immigrants and the story and this panel about going through that process, and kind of tells the story about how we started going down that path. Coming down, like the beginning of that path. It's a fascinating book if you ever are able to read it. I don't know how easy it is to find from Stonebridge Press. The takeaway I got from it was this was a true passion project for Fred, for Mr. Schodt. So Like, I didn't really understand it at the time. I knew he was proud of the book when it came out. He was so looking forward to its release. And 20 years on, it's still... Now I know how much he really is proud of that book. Maybe we'll bring it up just a little bit in the conversation we have with him tomorrow. I get the feeling it may not, because Fred is more than told me he's more than open to talk about a bunch of stuff, and we will, and we will. The other panel I saw, and it was Jesse Betteridge's first panel. He has a handful this week. But his first panel was about great anime deaths. And it was just an hour of showing his favorite deaths from various
because I know
various
have
older
done it,
titles.
right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, he says he takes it off of Surat, and obviously, if you do it off of Surat, if you're doing off of Surat, if you're trying to, and I'm pretty sure Surat does it with his own
Flair,
Yeah.
smarmy.
He does it well. I went to it during Otakon.
Yeah,
it's a good show.
Yeah, and he knows he couldn't do it at that level. Jesse and I met up for the first time last night while he was grocery shopping, actually, at his Airbnb. And we had a nice conversation about it. He's told me he knew he couldn't do it to the same level as Surat, but he wanted to at least do it.
Yeah.
Because he was surprised that this convention hasn't had
that. No one... I'm surprised no one took up that mantle either. So
I'm jealous.
So when I saw that on the schedule, I thought, about time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they had everything else.
Yeah, so he did it, and it was actually pretty entertaining. Although he kind of brought back some bad flashbacks when he showed death scenes from Apocalypse Zero.
Show is
thanks a lot, Jesse.
It's a special kind of trash, that show.
Thanks a lot, Jesse. I appreciate it. But it was a tour de force, and he played to the crowd. He certainly played the in jokes. He said, "I had to show. I was told I should pick a death scene from this such and such a title," and he didn't know why. But when the title flashed on the screen, it elicited quite the cheer from the crowd. So, but we'll ask Jesse about those. We'll ask him a little bit more about his about the panels he's up to. So he'll be doing. I think he has 3 more panels this weekend. Fred Schodt has 2 more panels. I think he'll talk a little bit more about Astro Boy, Tezuka, and manga translation these days. Excuse me.
Live podcast,
unedited, which will go up within an hour.
Hey man, we're completed. Growing, Mike. Like, look at the room. We got other regular con goers sitting in the room, volunteers. I got the head of the panel, the head of the panels department here. Fingers is in the room. Mm-hmm. What's up? No, it's like I look as the room grew, and I was thinking about saying, what was it? It was
well,
like ZZ Top in their first shows, and they said they were in a bar with one guy, and that one guy was.
I will say this is the biggest audience we've had in the second incarnation of the show.
Yeah,
so,
we did get a few because remember we used to be in the New York room.
Back in the day, yes.
I went there first out of habit, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's where you went?
Man.
Yeah.
What video were they showing? Because they show videos.
Hell if I know.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
We took the atrium. We took the the place where the cafe now takes place. Mm-hmm. We that was the first time we did roundtable here.
Yeah,
so.
like right there.
Then we took the New York room right after. So the year and the last couple of years we were here. So before we returned this year or last year, now we're here. Anyway, that's those are the 2 panels I took away. I came from, and I actually we ran into Dave Merrill before he
before Anime Hell.
Well, here first, and then we went across the street, and we went and talked to him before Anime Hell too. So everybody we mentioned is. We hope to get a chance to talk with at length here on the show. So,
did anyone venture towards the TCC? Because I'm sure they got tons of people there.
I was there.
Always do near the dealers.
Did you see? Yeah, well, you were there.
I was there at Nominoichi, but yeah.
Oh, how did Nominoichi? You had a half table. How'd it go? How'd it go?
It went okay.
Were you able to fit? Because was it half table? Since your friend was very kind.
Yeah. Well, not everything could go up at first, but as things sold, I could put more stuff up. I'd say I did fairly decently. Definitely not as much as in prior years because I didn't bring as many sellable things this year. But But yeah, I'd say it was a high. Once I factor in like paying people because I was helping people sell stuff, like high hundreds that I'm gonna grudgingly not spend.
Yeah, hang on to the money.
Yeah, it's going to my retirement fund.
Good for you,
To
dog.
your RSP, huh?
Good for you,
To
dog.
my index funds because I don't trust the government to pay for my pension when I retire. Let's be honest, I really don't. Something's gonna happen.
Well, there you go.
Gotta save for your own retirement, people.
Yes, you do. Yes,
What
you
you're saying
do.
is all the old people are going to take your retirement.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
boy.
like you.
Above
What
our
about
pay-
Mike?
Above,
It's like
Yeah,
I
Mike
heard-
too.
well,
I
above
heard
our
that-
scope. I'm trying, dude. I'm trying.
It's like we
Although
talked about that.
my friend Lawrence here in the audience will tell you how our pensions really are because he's my coworker. He works with me where I work.
It's not any better.
Actually, we're gonna get Lawrence on it. I want to talk to you, Lawrence. We'll do it in the second segment, and I guess we have expanded this from a digest 3 to episode 9. So this is no longer a digest. This is a regular episode. I will plug in the fourth mic and then get Lawrence on, but I don't think we have time to put the stands up for him, so he'll have to hold the mic. But I do want to talk with him because he told me he was going to a panel that caught my attention that I couldn't attend because we were here. Mm-hmm. Let's take the break. I'm going to we'll hook up that mic for Lawrence and bring him on for just a little bit. It's
And
a
you were
roundtable from
correct.
Anime North on the Six Talk Podcast Network. And the podcast now continues in front of a live audience and online via the Six Talk Podcast Network. Official podcast Anime North at Anime. Once again, we are at Anime North. Austin has stepped away because he has seen to his duties. And once again, I said duties as one of the key guys, as one of our go-tos for the all-night track that's taking place on the other side of the hotel in the international rooms. But his seat is now taken. His seat is now taken. One of my good friends from work has actually joined me. So I'm pleased to welcome my good friend Lawrence Black.
Hey, everybody. I'm Lawrence, originally from Montreal.
Hi, Lawrence.
So I've been to Anime North about 12 years now.
Yes,
So
and
it's been a blast. Can't complain.
he loves coming to these type of things.
I
though.
come into these types of
Well,
things.
I mean, he's pretty. He's
In Montreal, anime was the only thing at the time that when they made the language laws tougher, it was the only thing that couldn't be translated properly. So it was,
Actually, when Jesse does the show tomorrow, he has some interesting French aspects.
yeah,
let us know, so.
it's like because anime, if you translate it to French, it does not come across the same way, and it sounds really weird. So
You speak French fluently? Better.
I'm rusty, but I can get by. Okay.
Hey, your French is probably better than my English.
So like things like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, every kind of anime that came across into North America blew up really fast over there.
Yeah. Okay. During the break, we'll talk, and we'll talk about why we have you on
Yeah.
for in a couple minutes. But during the break, you guys were all talking about your impressions of the dealer's room. So, okay, what's the issues with the dealer's room from your perspective? I haven't had a chance to look. So.
I went looking for a few DVDs, and it seemed like there was a lot less dealers this year for some odd reason. A lot of them that would usually they empty out their stores that you would find downtown Toronto.
So
There are a lot less of them there. I was like, where? I circled the dealer's room for 5 times, and I only found one that barely had anything I could find.
he's doing good.
So I was like, okay, looks like I got to go to Amazon to find what I'm looking
Oh
for.
boy.
Yeah, because I was saying during the break, I've spent maybe $40 in the dealer's room, or $40 to $70 in the dealer's room in the last 2 Anime Norths, because now that our dollar is ass, like they have to up their prices because they need to try and make their margins, and people at conventions are more likely to impulse buy, so they'll usually want to price it a little higher anyway. There's not much incentive for me to buy anymore. So, like a lot, I don't really buy as much manga as I used to.
Yeah.
So, and anytime I need something, like I'll I'll wait until Indigo goes 40% off before I buy anything now, because you're gonna be paying like US cover if you buy 5 or more books. That's how it usually goes, or something along those lines.
Yeah, everybody was like that. They're like, if you buy so many, if you buy 4 or 8, they'll charge the US price and give you a better deal. And I'm like, okay, I can live with
that.
It's
I guess it's a deal. It's just I've since found better deals.
yeah, I know.
From my standpoint, I'm not totally sure I will. I think I've done all my spending when I got the Kimagure Orange Road set.
Oh yeah.
Earlier a month or so ago. Mm-hmm. So I just I don't foresee. I will be shocked if I really buy anything at this stage. Probably the only thing I'll buy is dinner. Which will probably be overpriced too.
Because, my spending habits have changed. Like, anime and manga for me is not the dominant hobby that it used to be.
Oh, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, so there's still the odd show I buy. Like I like Prison School, so I bought that, and I still need to buy the new Yamato series because those have finally come out on Blu-ray. But now it's like clothing is my main hobby now, so I put more money down that way. I need to save for retirement, so I'm putting down money over there now. And and I have to pay my bills. I have bills to pay now. I don't have the discretionary income that I used to.
Yeah,
disposable. Yes.
You gotta save your money.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we all have rent or mortgages or whatever.
Yep.
So
you gotta see when to stop and don't blow the rent money.
Yep.
So Lawrence, for first, what's your impressions of day one? Just quickly, before we get to the
not
heart
so
of
bad.
why I
It
had you on.
was okay. I went other than just that circling around it. I found a few things. I got some stuff from my brother and nephew, and then I was like, okay, I'm done.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, here's why I have you on. At the same time, like as I said, the time frame, and trust me, this is just me joking around about it because I'm okay with it, really. But we are sort of in a no-win situation because we go head-to-head against the second half of Anime Hell. So we have basically an empty room here.
I know.
Which is fine. But you were at another panel that was going on as we were setting up for this.
Oh, yeah. I went to... It's a panel called Black Folks Like Anime Too. It's a full room, surprisingly. The first time I went, it was about the same size as this, and they gave them the Toronto room,
which isn't a bad room to have.
And we filled it up there's maybe 5 or 6 seats by the end of it left.
They've been doing that panel for a good 10, 11 years.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me about it. Have you seen the versions of this panel?
I haven't, to be honest.
So, tell me about it, just a little bit. The title had my attention and I'll backtrack a little bit, and I'm going to say hi to one of my to the person who cut my hair earlier today. Hi, Steph. She's African Canadian, and we had this nice conversation about her family, her family's fandom, and how it starts with her dad, out of all people, and how she's passed it on to her son. So yeah, black people like anime too. But tell me about this panel just a little bit, a bit of what's at the heart of it.
Yeah,
what was your takeaway from this year's version?
It's because some people find that people of color aren't well represented in the anime. So, and a lot of people say, "Or aren't you going to be the only black person there at at Anime North in a crowd of Asians, Japanese, Chinese, Filipinos, whatever?" I go, "No, not really, because it varies in ages and demographic. So everybody's there. Everyone got to speak a little bit about introducing their family. Some people who have families who are from the Caribbean. So some of the guests who are family members are Guyanese. They had quite the response the first time dropping them off here, and it's funny. You hear people's reactions, and it's quite a bit talk. It's a lot of talk about a lot of stuff that's been going on. Everybody.
Okay. I mean, titles.
Yeah.
Titles that came out, like shows, titles, manga, anime.
I don't think they have. They talked about a few characters in a bunch of different animes. I have I haven't seen yet. It's kind of hard to keep track now that I'm working so much. So, but yeah,
Well, I had to ask.
you have to. You can always. She has a Facebook group. You can always
Pop in.
and talk to
I'll
her.
ask for the information a bit later on.
It's Black Folks Like Anime too on Facebook.
Okay.
she has a
But
group.
well, how many times have you seen the panel? Or is this the first time?
Second time.
Second time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well,
I have a question. In terms of representation, like how many non-black people are at the panel? Because I know they do welcome everybody to come in.
Quite a bit actually.
Well, that's good.
It's a mixed group. It was whites and just about everybody else in between. So it's no real difference this time as opposed to the first one. The first time it was kind of few people kind of felt a little uncomfortable when they left.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they're kind of because everybody's kind of explaining how it felt, explaining being the first time, being somebody of color coming to Anime North, and then they're like, okay, we're kind of gonna walk their way out the door. So
why do I find that? I don't know. I find that a little disheartening.
yeah, I know. It's just like
A little bit disheartening.
because they said everybody's welcome, and they felt a little weirded and uncomfortable. I was like, okay,
I mean, it's look. This place is an open door. Anime North is probably one of the when it happens is one of the safest for LGBTQ spaces in all of
exactly.
Toronto. So,
yeah.
you just sigh. I can't help but be a little disheartened when I hear something like that.
And they touched on that year when we had the Conservative Party weekend, the same.
Oh yeah, well that's.
That
I think
was
that's going to be. I think that's going to be one of those things that'll be talked about in the lore of in the history of this convention.
Everybody was kind of surprised that some people there was people that were attending Anime North and going to the Conservative Party at the same time.
I believe that was a McLean's article. So.
Oh no, there was one guy he ran into somebody and he was in cosplay and then he was kind of changing and he had the Conservative badge on. I was like, wow, okay, that's got to be the weirdest thing ever, but.
Well, where do you go with that?
I know.
That's the thing. I mean, everyone's entitled to those opinions. I mean, you think that
You would learn
the fandom is a little bit more liberal leaning, but
yeah.
no, it doesn't have to be.
But you figure by now the convention center would learn not to book it the same weekend as
Well, you're right. Now that you brought it up, this is the second time that's happened, though. I think because there was a policy convention, there was a Conservative Party policy convention some years back before that. So but
this is something that's booked a year ahead, and those conventions usually book 3 months before.
yeah, there's just question marks, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is an odd area where we sit on Dixon and 27 because you have this. But this is also very much the like we said before, very much the stronghold for conservatives in Toronto. This is Ford country. Rob Ford, Doug Ford, they held their campaign rallies in the same room where Anime Hell took place tonight. So so this area tends to be one of those weird contradictions.
I know.
In some ways, but. Well, thanks for that insight. Thanks for your thoughts.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate you coming out.
I didn't know if you guys were still recording or not. So
Well,
I was going home, so I was like, I'll go
head home.
pop in and say hi.
Head home, get home safe.
Yeah.
We'll talk again. I'll see you at work.
Yeah,
I'll see you at work for sure. Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna be here tomorrow anyway.
Oh, thanks for sitting in. Tell you what, let's take the break. When we get back, we're going to wrap it up and look forward to day 2. So come on back. It's the Anime Roundtable at Anime North on the Six Talk Podcast Network. What got delayed?
Sonic movie.
Oh,
Yeah, that
boy.
was the other big news I remember.
Okay,
today.
okay.
But it's not that much of a
One
delay,
headline.
It's just till February.
This got your attention. Just what caught your attention today in the headlines tonight? You just said the Sonic movie got it. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Sonic movie got delayed because they have to redo Sonic.
Yeah.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Yep, that's exactly.
They had to
that
add a
is
little
it.
airbrush to Mr. Hedgehog.
Yeah, make him look more like a hedgehog instead of like Ryan Reynolds or something.
to make it look more like.
Is that the newest Pokemon
Sonic.
that everyone loves
I
and
don't know.
knows?
That might be the newest meme. Okay, so to everyone out there, as I said, we're going to be back here tomorrow night at 11 p.m. on Saturday night. To those listening in the room or those who are listening to this on whatever devices they're listening it on, if you have anything you want to say to us, well, say it to us, damn it. AnimeRoundtable@gmail.com is our email address. www.animeroundtable.com is our website. We're on Twitter @AnimeRoundtable as well. And check us out. Well, chances are you already figured out how to listen to us. But we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and we will explore other podcast catchers like Ecast, like Stitcher.
We're still on SoundCloud, aren't we?
And
Yeah,
we're
said
still on
that,
SoundCloud. Yes, we're still on SoundCloud. And like I made the joke about being on Spotify, somehow we're on Spotify. Don't know why. Don't know how we got through the filters there. Okay, so the tradition we have after as we complete our night one here at Anime North is, what are you looking forward to for day 2? Once around the table, Mr. Ing.
Well, I'll be involved with all the kimono-related events and the fashion show.
Which means you're not seeing too much.
No, not really. Hopefully I'll catch 1 or 2 panels. Hopefully. I don't know if I will, to be honest. Like, maybe I'll catch Neil Naiman's panel at night before our podcast. It's probably the one I'll be gunning for, if anything.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna, day 3 hasn't happened yet, so I'll withhold that for now.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about it at the end of day 2.
We have to go up against the new Lupin special that they're releasing for Discotheque, the Mermaid.
You know what? You know how I feel about going up against.
We're also up
Really, what's
against
the
Mike Toole's panel for, I think, bad Korean dubs of anime or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Oh,
Like
that means
Yeah.
Mike Toole's not doing this show.
Oh, you talked to him about coming on?
Oh yeah, we'll figure something out. As I said, we this show has been done old school. If you've ever seen us do the show live, we do this old school. Aboard some traditional studio mics. That's it. I know podcasts these days are done through Skype or online, and to be honest, I'll be honest, it's a technique I've yet to learn, or at least try to learn. So I'm gonna be so hopefully I'll be enlightened as the weekend goes and on stuff like that.
And before you know it, you'll be on Discord.
Oh God.
I'm going to be missing the Bionics panel tomorrow, which is a
Yeah,
little
they're-
distressing.
I'm sure you'll get the Coles Notes version when with Jesse.
Oh,
I
And
was
we
debating.
talked about you. We did
because
talk about you.
I followed his website since the beginning.
Definitely educated us on the CRTC as well. And it's
Yes.
like getting involved because you can't change anything unless you actually talk to them.
Rely on his
Okay.
site for anime news. Yeah,
Oh, he's good. He is
in
good.
Canada.
Having seen his work for over the years. I'm actually really.
He did build a little community based on that over the years too.
And I think some of them are listening to him now. on
Yeah,
his
I'm sure they
podcast.
are.
A good chunk of them are.
But yeah, no, the Bionics one was a good one. The thing is, it's up against too. It's like, do I do that or do you go over to Sheridan? Victor Lucas has his panel over there at Sheridan around that same time.
Yes, Victor
2
Lucas
p.m.
is here this weekend. But all the video game stuff, which is off the Sheridan, which I've never been to during that time.
And I think this
I can
is
never
his
do
first
that.
time coming. Like he's been to
He's
all
been to
the
Fan Expo.
the Fan Expos
He's
and
done
stuff
Fan
like that,
Expo.
and he's done that for many,
So I was
many
a little
years.
surprised, a little surprised that he's here for Anime North.
Well, I
mean,
guess
he
I'm
had
not
never
too
done
surprised.
it
Maybe
before.
Rerez, I know, has been here the
Well,
last
I
2
think it's more
years,
of a
and I
case
think
of-
he knows
I think
Rerez,
more-
and he's getting
more
to
of a
know the
case
YouTube
of-
community
yeah,
as well.
And more of a case of, well, it's taken him this long to eventually do Anime North. I guess maybe that's a big part of it too.
But were we really his kind of audience though? Like,
Well, the way this convention tends to be,
yeah.
it goes really across the board.
It's really across the board,
and
so
we've had
it's-
that. And we've had that discussion before, for better or worse, right?
Yeah, we kind of had that discussion last week or so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
last week
week.
about it when we were talking IFF.
But I can tell you one thing that we didn't expect is the Raptors to resurrect since the last time we were watching.
Oh
it
yes,
last podcast.
well now because we were frustratingly watching them get blown out in Game 2, and now here they are. Possibly,
We saw last night's game,
Yeah,
and then
we'll
tomorrow,
be
I guess
taping it.
tomorrow night is going to be, we're going to miss the best parts, aren't we?
by 11 p.m. By the time we tape tomorrow night, we'll probably know what the result is from Game
Because
6.
That's
It's
true.
8:30. It's 8:30.
Yeah, it's 8:30.
Yeah,
So
it'll end around the
we'll
time
have
we
a sense
start.
around
Yeah.
the time we are set to tape. Okay, Mr. Austin. So what are you? What has your attention for tomorrow?
Yeah, as I was saying, the Bionics and the Victor Lucas. The Discotheque panel in the morning, I believe that's at 11, and I think they may have some licenses and some announcements there, so that'll probably be interesting to see. It's like I might go over to the TCC and see what's happening in the dealership. It's always interesting to walk around to see what's being sold, and sometimes it's interesting to see the prices because they definitely go up and up compared to other places if you shop around, especially with the Canadian dollar the way it is.
Trash.
Well, okay, so I guess let me hype up Jesse Betteridge's panels. You mentioned Bionics. The Bionics 15th anniversary panel will take place tomorrow or Saturday at 1 p.m. Here in the Delta at in International B. He is going to do, well, I have no clue. He hasn't hinted exactly what this is about, but the panel is called Your Name, starring Keanu Reeves. Saturday. So it'll be tomorrow at 5 p.m. International B as well. And then he'll have one more, and we'll let him hype up his Sunday panel, Blatant Copyright Infringement on Sunday. Those are his panels, the panels that remain for him. Since he's our guest tomorrow, obviously we should at least mention to everyone out there what he will be up to before he comes on to talk with us. And I guess I'll be checking that. I'll try and check out all the panels I could. Strangely, I think I've done my annual autograph chasing already at IFF.
I was going to
So-
say, we missed the lines, don't we? It's
Well,
like,
I mean,
good thing, no lines.
what is this?
But of course there
Yoriko
are-
Yamaguchi is here, and obviously, she's probably the old school name in terms of a lot of voices. Like last year we had
I think Ritsuko is the one that stands
Ritsuko
out
is the
for
one that
you.
stands out for me, obviously. I mean, we talked last year at length about how my friend and I went to chase everything concerning Iwa Junko.
Here's Tomoyo, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Tomoyo from Cardcaptor.
And you went to the
And she
panels
was
and
great.
that-
And I keep saying this. I keep raving about her appearance last year because she really played that part. She really played to the crowd. Every time she saw a Sakura cosplay, she went into character for it.
Did she pull out a camera while she was at it?
No, she didn't. But Sakura kawaii. It was, and I just insulted her. But it was really, she really played to the crowd, and she was a great guest. And as I said, we went chasing there throughout the last year. I don't foresee on a personal level that I'll be chasing in that sense this year, because there are stuff I want to take out. There are panels I want to check out. Actually, I guess on the topic of hyping up panels, I'm doing a panel too. Well, I'll be doing a panel with fellow podcasters tomorrow or Saturday in Plaza B. In Plaza B here at the Delta, we're going to be doing a podcast panel. We're going to talk about how to start a podcast at length, and I'll be doing it with some fellow podcasters, and I'll tell you about that a little bit more tomorrow, and we'll give them a shout out. We'll give all their shows a shout out tomorrow. Also, on other topics, we mentioned Helen McCarthy is here, so she's doing 2 panels on Saturday according to the guidebook, and as I said, go with the guidebook. We'll joke around why tomorrow. Here at the Delta, in this very room where we're recording, here in the Halton room, the woman who wouldn't stay put, who will talk about a British woman, a Victorian woman who went to Izo in Hokkaido, in modern Hokkaido. Hey, Jeff Gregg has just entered the room. We'll say hi to him.
And you were aware where all these people were at the beginning, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like,
Anime Hell? How's Anime Hell, Jeff?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Helen McCarthy is here, and she'll at 4 p.m. Right here in the Delta, she'll on Saturday she'll talk about the manga Beatles. Basically, Tezuka Matsumoto, Leishi Matsumoto, Ishinomori, and how they impacted the industry.
I strongly recommend people checking out Helen McCarthy's panels. She does a great job, and she's a sweet, funny lady.
She is.
Yeah, no,
She
she
is.
is. Yeah, no.
On a personal level, we did mention Fred Schodt. He will have one panel tomorrow, 2 p.m. here in the Delta and International B. He'll be talking about. He's set to talk about his experience with Tezuka, with Osamu Tezuka. He is also depending on which version of the guidebook you're reading. Sunday he'll also he'll either be talking about Astro Boy or about translations in manga today. And maybe we'll ask him tomorrow when we talk with him. If you're just joining us once again, Frederick Schodt has agreed to do the show, and we're going to do an interview with them tomorrow afternoon. We will put this. We'll talk about the aftermath of it probably immediately tomorrow evening, and then a day or so after, we'll probably put the interview up itself, and we'll talk about a bunch of things under the sun.
Awesome.
So Fred Schodt. So that's the thing. That's what I'm personally looking forward to. The Anime Roundtable will see its first true guests. Love you, Norm.
Because Sugar couldn't do it last time, or it wasn't Sugar. What was that other woman?
It was
yeah.
Well.
It wasn't Sugar. I'm sorry. If Sugar ever listens to this, I'm sorry.
No, but we will have our first true guests to do this show, and both Fred Schodt and Jesse Betteridge. Hopefully,
it was Ed the Sock's wife, I think.
Yeah, it was at the Sox.
Yeah,
that was a decade ago.
That was a long time.
And Drew Adams Wrath at the time.
Yeah.
So that's the things I'm personally looking forward to tomorrow as we continue here from Anime North. We'll talk at length we're going to talk off air with Jeff, since this is the first time we've seen him since last year. But we are near the end of it, so we have to get some sleep. It's going to be a long day tomorrow. It's day 2.
Some people don't get sleep, Mike.
Well, yeah. I'll get 4 hours. I'll get a few hours of it.
Tell me about it.
Just long enough to put this up. Well, I'll get a chance to put this up. Then I have to turn in, and then my day will probably begin 1 or 2 hours later. We'll see you here in the Halton room at the end of day 2, hopefully for a Raptors win. But in any event, yes, for sure.
Start the day in Halton, end the day in Halton.
We'll end the day in Halton. So we'll see you here. Enjoy day 2 here at Anime North, and we'll see you at the end of it. Have a good night from Toronto.